All right, hello everybody. How are you doing tonight? My name is Mike Readling. I'm a marine specialist with Navionics. I'm here tonight with Sam Heaton.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
Good to see you, buddy.
Director of Recreation for DOA Fishing Lures and all-around fishing legend.
Legend's a pretty serious word.
Well, you know, we like to be nice to people when we're starting out around here.
Yeah, when you're starting out, you might not wind up that good.
That's right. So what we're going to do tonight is talk about catching those there.
Largemouth bass.
Largemouth bass on Lake Okeechobee.
Florida bass.
It is the summer months, so maybe we'll talk about kind of targeting them when it's nice and hot outside.
Sure.
You know what? Let's start out with let's start out with a lure, and we'll pick a place.
Well,
and we'll go
first of all, let me say this: that GPS and mapping has become a big part of fishing, and it's a great part of fishing because here's the reason: is first of all, it's safety. You get in Lake Okeechobee, and you get back in the Monkey Box, or you get back in Tin House Cove, or you get back in some of those places, and you say, well, did I go around that island right there, or did I go around this island right here? So mapping is so great because you can follow your trail back out and get home. That's one thing I like about it. And instead of, when I was fishing BASS, Roland Martin and I were having a discussion one night, and I said, Roland, I've just got to get better at locating fish. And he said, Sam, I'm going to tell you a secret. I said, okay, what's that? He said, if you'll spend half the time looking at your map, we didn't have card mapping back then. If you'll spend half the time looking at your map that you do practice fishing or looking for fish, you'll catch twice as many fish. And he was exactly right. And card mapping, I don't know if that's the right term or not, but card mapping has become such an important part of the fishing experience, especially if you're not real familiar with the lake.
Exactly.
And it can show you where the drops are. It can show you where the vegetation is. It can show you a lot of things by depth. And now we have the ability to look at depths without even looking at my depth finder. I mean, I can tell you exactly how deep with the contour lines and exactly how deep it is. And I never even have to look at my depth finder. All I do is look at my GPS.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's unbelievable what they have been able to do. I'm an old Vietnam vet, and I spent a couple of years in Vietnam, and I was with the 75th Infantry Rangers over there, and we didn't have GPS. And just to be honest with you, I stayed lost half the time I was over there. You had to use dead reckoning with mountaintops and high elevations and stuff. And when you're in a triple canopy jungle, it's almost impossible to do. So GPS is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's just fantastic. And being able to put it on your unit right in front of you, man.
Not to mention with the apps, you can sit at your house on your couch and zoom in on areas and look at contours.
Sure.
You pre-fish the lake before you even get to the lake.
How do you think that these young studs on the BASS trail and all these guys have gotten so good at locating fish? Liddell Martin, all them guys, I mean, I guarantee you that they spend hours and hours, maybe not at home, but on the tournament trail, studying those maps, studying those maps on those computers, studying, putting their waypoints, putting their milk run in there on waypoints. And it is just so important. I mean, it's unbelievable how much it's changed fishing. It's taken fishing from getting out there and slinging a spinnerbait and a worm on 1/8 ounce smoke sinker all day to a new level.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, I want to tell y'all some ways that I catch fish on Lake Okeechobee. And first of all, Lake Okeechobee is a lake of vegetation. And you've got to have the right lures to fish that vegetation. And here at DOA, we've come up with some lures that we think are the best you could possibly have to fish the vegetation with. One of our new baits is this PT7. I don't know. Can we do that? How do we do
right
that?
up close there.
Yeah, okay. I'm not real good at this. That's a PT7. It has a 7/0 hook in it. It's a top water floating bait. It has a rattle in it. It also has holographic eyes, and you can throw this thing right in the middle of junk. I mean goop, and you can still get it out without fouling the bait. And it has been. We make it in a lot of different colors. This is another great color of mine, of our favorites, is a black and gold glitter. This is a pearl. You know, I'm not very good at this. Okay, right there. I am not very. It's a pearl, and these baits enable you to fish that junk, that slop. Now, that's there, and I fish them top water.
Okay. So you're walking the dog with them.
Walking the dog with them. Now, top water is best, and I don't care what anybody else says. It's best early in the morning, late in the afternoon, when that direct sunlight is not on that water. Because when that direct sunlight is on that water, those fish can see, just like you and I, they can see a lot better because it's bright and it's shining. So, you know, we change our tactics, but early in the morning, late in the afternoon, the PT7 is what you really want to capitalize on and throw it. And the big fish will hit it. I mean, I've caught 9-pounders on it. You know, I had a rider in the boat last month. We did a rider conference on Lake Okeechobee. He caught a 810. Biggest. He'd been a rider for like years. He'd been a rider for like 45 years, and it was the biggest bass he'd ever caught. You know, 45 years.
Now, are you working these slow or are you working them fast? How do you work them?
I try to work it slow, but sometimes if the fish start chasing it, if you'll speed it up and go a little bit faster with it, you know, walk it a little bit faster, they'll hit it. Now, and one great thing about it, I rig it weedless, and I bury that hook, just the very tip of that hook into that skin. When he hits it like that. And look at that hook. Look at that hook. Can you see it? That 7/0 hook.
It's a big hook.
Is exposed.
Yeah.
And you can get it. That bull. That's one of the great things about the PT7 is when he watch my fingers. And my fingers are like a big bass. Okay. And then if you jerk that lure, it'd go right into my mouth. That's the great thing about the PT7. Mark, who has designed this bait and worked with this bait, he's not just about getting hits, he's about catching those fish. And he is a genius when it comes to that. He is a KISS man. You know what KISS is?
What's KISS?
Keep it simple, stupid.
All right.
And he is a KISS man, and it's always worked for him. And, you know, he made the DOA shrimp. We fish it in saltwater, but I'm going to tell you something. You guys, if any of you guys are on deep lakes, high mountain lakes, Lake Lanier, Alabama River, Lake Martin, Logan Martin, Gunnersville, I got a tip for you. But anyway, so
we're going to come back to that tip.
Yeah, we'll come back to that tip because I want to tell the people how to do that. All right. I want to show them how to do that. And then of course we have our worms. You know, this is one of our favorite baits. Is after the fish get away from the cover a little bit. You know, get out away from the cover. They do that to start chasing shad. You know, because the shad don't get up in that cover. The shad don't like it in there because they're gonna get eaten.
It's dangerous.
So we fish this trick, and that's all that is. It's just a little straight pencil worm, and I rig it with a 4/0 hook and an 8-ounce screw-in slip string.
Okay, basically a Texas rig.
Basically a Texas rig. Now, one thing I do though is when I rig this baby up, I pull it through that worm a couple of times to create a channel for that hook to go through. Okay? That way I get more hookups. Okay? More hookups with that worm right there. You know, you can't beat it. We make it in all colors. We make it in purple. We make it in black, black and purple, green with red glitter, and a bunch of other colors. But in one thing that I really like about this worm right here, it's affordable. It's not an overpriced bait.
It goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way, man. Fishing is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be so expensive that you can't go.
Don't want to bankrupt yourself trying to catch a bass.
Well, you know, then you got to explain to your wife why you spend all the money fishing and she ain't got no money to get her hair done or something like that. But anyway, that's a couple.
Well,
Now,
tell me about this fat little worm first of all.
this fat worm, this is a I don't know, it's a great worm. It's just a stick worm. It's just a stick worm. It has no action. It's dead through the water, but this one will catch them too.
Is that
This,
punching heavy cover, stuff like that?
you know, yeah, in a way, I like to throw it in heavy cover, but I also like to float this one.
Okay.
You know, don't even put a weight on it. Just float it. Pitch it out there and, you know, jerk it, and float it. And, you know, it really, I'm trying to think of the name of this design. It's, what do you call that, Mike? Gary, it's, I can't think of it. But we make that one also in a lot of different colors.
The Yamamoto worm.
Yeah, Gary Yamamoto, but it's, what do they call that? I can't, I'm sure some of these guys will.
Everybody will know.
Know what it is.
Replies.
But we make it in a bunch of different colors. So those are, you can't go wrong with those three lures. You can't go wrong. But I'm going to show you something that we came up with. And Ed Zayek was kind of the driver behind this worm. It's a DOA snake. Now, DOA snake is about a 10 or 11 inch worm. And when we make it, they're coiled up, just like this one right here. They're coiled up, just like this one right here.
Get right over here.
Oh, out over here. Coiled up. Now, I noticed when I handed you that worm, first thing you did is pull it apart.
Yes, sir.
Don't do that. What you don't want to do is you don't want to pull it apart until you get ready to actually throw it in the water. Because we make it like that intentionally. And there's no way I can show you this, but when I pull that worm, it straightens out. But when I relax it, it goes right back in the coil, just like a snake. That will work. It works great on big fish. It also works on redfish. It also works on trout, you know, but bass fishing is where that came about being. I don't know if you can see it in my hand coiled up like that or not, but you can see how it coils up. And that's the reason we make them like that. So it will, when we relax that worm, it will coil back up. And so it's got a lot of added action.
Well, when it comes to action, I was fishing this weekend or last weekend on Lake Osborne, just a straight Texas rig right through the head. It didn't have any weight on it. And as I was reeling it in, the snake had its head up out of the water and just did a perfect snake motion as I reeled it back in. It looked exactly like a snake coming back towards the boat. We've all seen bass hit snakes on top of the water.
Sure.
We've seen videos. We've seen them in person. I mean, if there's a nice big bass underneath something, this is what's going to get you.
And snakes are a primary food in Lake Okeechobee. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, that place is full of water moccasins." Yeah, it's got some water moccasins, but it's got king snakes, it's got corn snakes, it's got brown water snakes, it's got all kind of snakes, especially in the spring of the year when they start hatching out. And you know, a snake bait is hot in the spring.
Yeah, they look really good. I was impressed with the way.
And then also here again, it comes packaged in a pack like that, and it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to break the bank. And you know what we've decided is the retail stores like to sell our products. The reason they like to sell our products is because people can come in, get what they want, and it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg, and the retailer can still make a little bit of money, right? Yeah. You know, if they don't make some money, they ain't gonna be able to stay in business. So that's the reason that we have kind of kissed. I wanted to call it a kiss one, keep it simple, stupid, but Mark didn't like that idea. But you know, it's now how do we do this? Do they write in for give us questions?
Yeah, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to. There should be a box over on the right-hand side of your screen to raise your hand.
Mm-hmm.
We can see them when they come in, hopefully.
Okay.
We have no questions.
You got everything hooked up?
Yeah, we're all. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like
you're a pretty smart guy. I'm not real good at that.
Taking all day to figure this out.
I used to work for NASA shooting rocket ships to the moon, but I got fired from that job.
Yeah, we're good. No questions yet, but feel free to jump in if you got any.
Right. You know, let's talk about the lake a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know, put that map up there, and let's go from the north end down the west side, because that's the side that I am the most familiar with. Now, you got a couple of places to put in. You got Indian Prairie. Well, first of all, you got the Kissimmee River where it runs in.
Right here.
And Kissimmee River is a, well, how do you say it? It's a refueling station for those bass. They come down that Kissimmee River, and the crappie and the bass go up and down that river. It's just a thoroughfare. It's a major thoroughfare. It's the major river that comes in to Lake Okeechobee. And between there and we'll say, Indian Prairie, which is right down. No, let's say Harney Pond Canal. Indian Prairie is too far. Harney Pond Canal, which is right there. Harney Pond Canal. All this on that northwest side is vegetation and engineering trails. And hey, that's pretty sharp.
Look at that.
That is awesome. It is so much cover in there, you know. And the thing about it is, Lake Okeechobee is so big that the water actually can be muddy in a spot, and you go another 10 or 15 miles south, and it's clear. Vice versa, it could be muddy to the south and clear up to the north. So, you know, but this area here, because of the vegetation, stays clear a lot more than some of the other places do. And I really like it because it has all kind of vegetation, and it has all kinds of points, little sloughs that go back into the weed line. It has cattails, it has Kissimmee grass, it has joint grass, it has hydrilla. It's got everything you need when God made Okeechobee, he knew exactly what he needed to do to produce big bass. And I'm talking about 8, 9, 10, 12, even 14 pounders.
Wow.
Now I've seen a few 12s and 14s, but very few. But now the 8 pounders have gotten where they come pretty regular. You know, I mean, especially with a lot of the guys that I talk to, which are guides over there. You know, they're fishing the big shiners, and a lot of people say, well, I don't like that. But, you know, they're fishing the big shiners, and they're catching some huge bass. But shiners are $20 a dozen.
Yes, they are, and they die.
And they die. And they won't take them back. So, I mean, you know, for $20, you could probably buy everything here on this table, and they'll hit it. You know, these lures that I'm talking about tonight will catch fish, and not only in Okeechobee, but you know, Kissimmee River, Lake Kissimmee, East Apoka, all those places like that, they'll catch fish. And then if you're going down to the south, where you going down the south, you get into this monkey box and you get into the Sportsman's Canal, and then you get into Indian Prairie, down in that area down there. You know, and here again, this is a great area because it has so much diversity as far as the vegetation goes. And these maps, the way you read that is, these are contour lines. Of course, you know what the contour, I hope everybody knows what contour lines is. And that means the lake, it gradually gets deeper and deeper and deeper. But you can take that map and you can take it, and I like that. You can take that map and you can say highlight everything under 6 feet.
Yep.
Under 6 feet. So if it shows up dark blue on that map, that's under 6 feet. And in the spring and the winter and the spring, that's essential because those fish are up in their bed. And that's where you're gonna catch your big ones. Now, in the summer, in the fall, you're gonna have to get out here in a little bit deeper water. But the key to fishing that, exactly, just like that. See this point right here? I like that point right there. And see this flat right here? Yeah, that point, that big flat right there. Those fish will actually get up on top of that. What's the matter? Did I do something? Oh,
Bad artist.
I thought I said something bad. But those fish will actually get up on those points and those flats and chase those bait fish. And there, here again, when they start doing that, this PT7 works fantastic. But now I'm going to show you something.
Okay.
And this is the tip that I was talking about earlier. Everybody know what this is? I got it too close. Got to figure out which one. This is a DOA shrimp, 4-inch. And that thing has probably caught more fish than, only thing I know that's caught more fish than this is a white bucktail. And this thing is awesome. But what you do, when you get out on these big flats,
okay,
and those fish are schooling, you put this thing on. This is a holographic. We've got it in the red. We got it in the motor oil. Yeah, motor oil. We got it in several different colors. You put this thing on a Carolina rig, on a 3/4 ounce lead.
Okay.
You know, 3/4 ounce lead. You say, ooh, that's heavy. That's how we ever gonna get it through them weeds? There ain't no weeds out here. You don't want it to be weeds out here. But you put it on a 4-foot leader, and that allows the shrimp to stay up here. And when it's above that grass like that, that sinker dragging on the bottom creates vibration, and those fish are up there, and that shrimp is up above it. They'll eat it alive. I fish it with an exposed hook. And all you guys in all those high mountain lakes, like in the Alabama River, and I remember when Jack Chancellor won the Bassmaster Classic out of Montgomery, Alabama, on the Alabama River, throwing a do-nothing worm. And what a do-nothing worm was, it was a little old straight stick worm about like that right there with 2 hooks in it. And they when the fish are schooling, if you can find an area where they're actually chasing those shad, you can throw a Carolina rig and rig this shrimp on a Carolina rig, and it's awesome. It's awesome. Spotted bass, largemouth bass. We don't have any spots in Lake Okeechobee, but you get a little bit farther north in the Coosa River chain, like Lay Lake, Logan Martin, Gunnersville. Well, Gunnersville's not on the Coosa chain. Neely Henry. If you get up there, you can throw this bait right here on a Carolina rig, and it will produce fish. And it will produce big fish.
I'm not sure you get a lot of people thinking you're going to catch a bass on a shrimp.
That's what they eat.
You got to think outside the box, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And these baits like that create the weight, drag it on the bottom, creates vibration. And then these baits are up above that, and they're creating flash and action, and those bass they can't take it, because that's what they're doing. They're in there eating bait fish.
It's just like a popping cork, only you're doing it on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. I never thought of that, but yeah, you're right. Just like a popping cork, except you're on the bottom with it.
There you go.
exactly. And I'll never forget one time we were in Missouri and we were fishing a bass tournament. It wasn't a BASS, it was I don't know if it was a PBA. I think it was a PBA. And Roland and we had some poppy corks about like that. I mean, big ones. And they were weighted. And we were throwing them on big 7-foot spinning rods. And we would put like 3 bucktail jigs behind it, or 1/8-ounce jigs. And them fish would come up down there by the dam, and we would take that poppy cork and throw it just as far as you could, and you could throw it, almost 100 yards. I'm not gonna say 100 yards to that's pretty hard to believe. You could throw it 50, 60, 70 yards, and work that poppy cork back, plop, 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 plop. We just catch you 2 at a time. They outlawed that. Yeah, they outlawed that. They wouldn't be real big fish, but they were keepers. They were weighers.
Yeah.
And back then, we were trying to make a check, man. That's what we were trying to do. And I'll never forget that. They came back at the next year and said, only 1 hook at a time. Yeah. Now they let them throw those Alabama rigs, but they wouldn't let us throw that. But DOA makes a lot of really interesting things, really innovative, and they all work good. In grass situation, well, not all of them. They went for grass situation, open water situations, saltwater, and freshwater. But Lake Okeechobee right now, I would say if I had to go over there in the morning, I would fish top water early, and then I would get out and start looking for those schooling bass.
And where would you go right off the bat?
Right off the bat, I'd put in at Okeechobee Marina, come out through up in here, come out into
I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna highlight.
Big grassy. I'm sorry, I can't help you, buddy. I don't know nothing about that thing. I had to get a rental car today, and I couldn't even drive the darn thing.
I can't drive a webinar, so you're doing all right.
Anyway, up around Big Grassy, 10 House Cove.
So you're gonna come in around here.
Yeah, I put in right there. No, that's Taylor Creek. I put in right here on the Kissimmee River, right there.
Okay.
And I come out of there and I come around there, and right here that's the Buckhead Ridge Canal runs through there. But I'd stay out here. See this edge right here?
Oh, look, you can draw it. Yeah.
Oh, I can draw it.
Look at you go.
You see that edge right there? I done figured out something. See that edge right there? And I would come down through here, and I would look. It's not going to do that. I'd come down through here, and I'd be looking at all these points. Make it go up a little bit. Yeah, I'd be erase that.
Yep.
I'd be okay. Good job.
Draw again.
I'd be looking at all these points right here. This is what we call third point right there.
Touch it.
Out here in front, and see where it says 10 feet? See where it says 10 right there? This is all up in here. And those fish will chase those baits in there and come all the way down. Then, if I couldn't catch them, I don't like to flip, because to me, I don't really like the technique. I mean, I can flip. Don't get me wrong. I flipped up a lot of money when I was fishing, but I had rather be able to cast. So then I'd go back. If I couldn't catch them that way, then I'd go back and fish some heavy mat vegetation. And I forgot to get one of the baits. Justin, we got a boy here helping us. Give me a 3-inch cow. Yeah, 3-inch cow. It don't matter. I'm just going to use it. He's going to get us a 3-inch cow, and we're going to talk about that cow. And I rig it with a 4-aught hook, just like this right here, and fish that cow right, just jerking it around them weeds. And that little 3-inch cow resembles a bait fish so much in that tail. Well, there's some right there. Yeah. cows right there. Yeah. Well, I might not better open that. Mark will charge me for it.
So, yeah,
I'm gonna open
they'll come after you.
it. Yeah, that's okay. I have an extensive expense account. Ed just died. You see that little bait right there? Without that jig head on it. I rig it weightless and weedless. And I just jerk, that's called electric chicken. And I jerk that thing around that grass, twitch it, and I fish it on a spinning rod. I hold that spinning rod up and just keep it right on top of the water.
Just swimming right on top of the water.
Just swim it right on top of the water.
How
and
fast?
those schoolie fish, I keep it on top where to break the surface,
Okay.
where the tail will just break the surface every once in a while. And I throw it on a spinning rod. I throw it on 15-pound braid and with a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader, and I can throw that thing a mile. And with that braid, after I set the hook, when I set the hook, a lot of guys start just winching and winching and winching and winching, and they pull that hook out of the fish's mouth. Get on your trolling motor, get on that Minn Kota trolling motor, and go straight to that fish.
Okay.
Go straight to him. Don't try to winch him out there because you'll pull a hook out of it. Go straight to him, and then you work him up. You know, I see people, you know, they get a fish on, and then they start really, you know, bearing down on it. And most of us, when we're fishing bait casters, we got 30-pound braid and 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. But, you know, it'll really, you'll pull those hooks out of those fish a lot more often. If you'll just get on that trolling motor and go to him, or get closer to him, get to him as fast as you can get him out of that stuff. What do you think? And all the way down here, if we come all the way down, make it go up some more, Mike.
Yeah, oops. Hey.
It's over on the other side.
I'll go crazy.
That's okay.
Are you in there?
No, right in here. I'm sorry, Lakeport. Coming down through here. Oh, wait. Don't do that. Coming down through here, you go by Horse Island, and you'll come in here to Harney Pond Canal.
Touch it, it'll drop.
And you know, here again, you want to stay in there and stay in there where you can fish those and look for those schooling fish, and then go back in there and fish. Our picture's kind of in the way there, but it's it could be very, very productive. And you know, you say, well, it's 100 degrees out there. It's not 100 degrees in that water.
Sometimes it feels like it though.
And what you want, another thing what you want to do is you want to take, and as the sun gets higher, go to that little bit off-colored water.
Okay.
You know, and I'm talking about fishing artificial.
Okay.
Go to that off-colored water. And, you know, it can really pay off big time for you. I wish we had some people call in because I'd tell them where to go fishing. But Okeechobee is a fantastic lake. We're getting a lot of bad press about Lake Okeechobee, about water quality. There's nothing wrong with the water quality in Lake Okeechobee.
Correct.
It's good, clean, pure water.
Ton of fish caught there this weekend.
Drink it. I've drank it. You know, I'm not recommending you do that, but I've drank it. The Indians drank it for years. But by the time they release it out those canals, those C14, C24, C25, Taylor Creek, by the time it runs down through all that cattle country, all that fertilizer, all them beef waste, manure and urine and all that, it's got to go somewhere. And I'm going to tell you something else. You know, in Florida, you know, we got guys that spray our lawns for fire ants. We got guys that spray our houses for palmetto bugs. And then we got a guy that comes along, like I say, and sprays for fire ants. Then we got another guy that comes along and sprays fertilizer on our lawn.
Yep.
And then we water them with irrigation systems. Well, where do you think all that water goes? Right? It goes right into the aquifer. I'm not saying don't water your lawn and don't spray for bugs, but we got a lot of people in South Florida. A lot of people. And I don't think that this country that we live in, which I'm not going to live anywhere else. I love this place. It's my dream as an outdoorsman to live. I don't think this country was ever meant to hold this many people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Too much concrete.
Bursting at the seams.
Yeah, bursting at the seams. Too much concrete. And so, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to quit fishing. I've done it. I mean, I don't know to do anything else. But it's a great place to live and be in. But we just got to pay more attention to our natural resources and maybe sacrifice a little bit on some of the other issues to take care of our water.
Yeah, no, it's a definite danger right now.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of things are changing. It's not for the better.
It's not for the better. It's just there's a lot of people here, and we just got to make some small sacrifices. And our politicians have got to realize that, you know, and I know a lot of big companies throw a lot of money at those politicians.
Yes, sir. And
to get them reelected. I don't know why anybody would want to be a politician, but there's a lot of people who do want to be a politician. And I guess I'm going to get chastised for this, but God bless Donald Trump. I think he's the best president we've had since Theodore Roosevelt. But anyway, you know, we've just got to make a few small sacrifices to keep our environment pure. And if you're not willing to do that, then you ought to think about moving. I mean,
let's not go crazy.
Do what, Mike?
I said, let's not go crazy.
Well, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, because it's so important. I mean, I've lived my time. I'm 70 years old. You know, I've caught a lot of snook, a lot of sailfish, a lot of bass, a lot of crappie. That's another thing about Lake Okeechobee. Man, the crappie fishing there is super fantastic. And it's not hard to do, because you fish, most of the time you're fishing visible cover. Visible cover means something you can see with your eyes. And it's not real hard to do. And you know, but it's fantastic crappie fishing. You know, the limit's 10-inch limit. Fish has to be 10 inches long, 25 fish per person. But, which I think that's a little too many, but because I know if I catch 10 good keeper fish and fillet them, I got 20 fillets, and my wife won't let me eat that much.
Hey, look, we got a question.
Okay, great.
From Judy Cheney. She says, where do you go to fish hard baits?
That's a good question. Where do you go to fish hard baits? When I fish my favorite hard bait on Lake Okeechobee is a chug bug. And you know, a chug bug, you fish it out there on those schooling fish where I'm talking about. You back off that weed line a little bit, get out there where there's not quite so much vegetation, and you fish. You know, when you see something break water over here or a minnow over here or something like that, throw at it. Work that topwater bait back. If it's on up in the day and you're tired of throwing the topwater, you don't have any confidence in the topwater, you know, you can throw something like a shad trap or a rattle trap. Okay. You know, and they work great. But that's when you fish for those schooling fish, right? You know, fish for those schoolers. Because some of them schooling fish will weigh 5 and 6 pounds. But in that location where I'm talking about, from right down these banks here, all that prime schooling area. Especially if there's no real current in Lake Okeechobee, but there's what we call wind current
Well, it's its own weather system, it seems like, the lake.
Wind current.
Yep.
And when that wind starts blowing, it's going to create current. And that's what you want to look for. Because that's what triggers those bigger fish into biting. Yeah.
All right. See if we have any more questions, and if not, we will. We already answered that one.
Mike, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got on my boat, on my aluminum boat, which I fish my aluminum boat mostly over at Lake Okeechobee. And I got it all set up for running shallow and all that kind of stuff with trolling motor and all that stuff. But I got a Helix 7.
Okay.
What chip do I need that shows me the contours and how do I know which chip I need?
Are you just fishing Lake Okeechobee? That's all you're looking to fish with that chip, or are you going to move around with it?
I would probably say from Orlando south.
Okay. So there's a chip called the Navionics Plus Regions. You want the South regions because you're in Florida.
Sure.
And what that'll give you it'll give you all the contours, 1 foot contours. You can update it as often as you want.
How do I update?
Well, this is where it gets hard.
Yeah.
So you take it out of your plotter and you stick it in your computer. And the computer will recognize it as a Navionics chip. It'll install the Navionics chart installer, and you click update, and then it updates. So what that does, and we just did this down and through the Keys and up the west coast of Florida after Irma. We went down and did a whole bunch of brand new sonar scans and sonar logs, and updated all those charts all through the Keys and all through Chokoloskee and up through Everglades City and all that. So that's one of the most important parts about Navionics is the ability to update.
Be able to update that, upgrade or update
the contours.
So
when a hurricane
the chip
comes
we have
through,
now, you can update.
Absolutely. In fact, and you know this, St. Lucie Inlet. Remember, there used to be that one corner right before you turned around into the intercoastal. There was a one corner. There was always stuck up in the corner by that corrugated fence. Great place. When Hurricane Irma comes through, most of it filled in with sand. Within 2 weeks, the Navionics ships were showing that as being filled in with sand and not a place to.
Okay, they're dredging right now. They're dredging in the St. Lucie Inlet. They got a big dredge out there. It's had it out there for like 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
When will that be on the Navionics?
As soon as we can get into, when that barge moves, we'll be able to get in there. Everybody can do sonar scans. Anybody who has a plotter on their boat can do a sonar scan, and there's thousands of people that do them. Just ordinary recreational anglers doing sonar scans, and they upload those logs to Navionics, and that's what updates these charts.
Updates that information on those charts.
2,000 updates a day.
Wow.
But
how many people y'all got working in the office there to do that?
10 million. No.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like I said, to me, it's the most important part of Navionics is the ability to change my maps when something happens and a storm comes through, or something we haven't been there for a couple of years, to look back and see what's changed in that area and how I want to go about fishing it. It's a big part of it.
I've got one thing I want to add to our conversation.
Okay, what you got?
You see this area right here? Oh, wait a minute. Make where I can write.
Yep. Should be able to write. There you go.
See this area right here?
Yes, sir.
We call that the shoal. That's 15 feet, 16 feet. A lot of people think that Lake Okeechobee's got a mud bottom. It don't. It's all.
We're gonna zoom in on that area.
Okay.
Just so we can see.
It's all limestone, and it has underwater springs out there.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The only thing I'm gonna say is, if you're gonna go out there to fish, it's quite a run. All right, it's quite a run.
Okay.
And you got to watch the weather and not get caught out there, because Okeechobee's an inland sea.
Oh, for sure it is.
And if you get caught out there in that mess, you can really, you can get in some trouble pretty quick. Just look at that poor fellow that was fishing that BASS tournament or FLW tournament and lost his life.
Yeah.
I mean, I went out there and helped him hunting, and coming back in and looking at his wife and his little girl's face, and they ask you if you see anything, you shake your head. It was like stabbing a knife in me, man.
That was a bad few days.
You got to be careful on Lake Okeechobee. I mean, it is a great playground, a great water system, but if you don't respect it, you're gonna get in some trouble. And people say, "Well, I can swim. I ain't gonna drown. I'm gonna swim." Let me tell you something. Let me give you a little experiment. I got a little pool in my backyard, mostly for the dogs, but but get in that pool and see how many laps you can swim.
Yeah.
See how many laps you can swim. And you'll find out that you can't swim near as far as you think you can.
You put 2 and 3 foot waves on top of that.
Yeah, put 2 or 3 foot waves on top of that and the wind blowing on you.
Yeah.
No. So I wear a life jacket. Every time I go on Lake Okeechobee, I wear a life jacket.
And if you don't, you're crazy.
If you don't, you're crazy. You're just asking for trouble. Just asking for trouble. You know, and we got some great customers at DOA, and we want to keep them.
That's a good point.
So I really have enjoyed being here with you. I hope I gave some good information. I felt like I've talked the whole time.
The whole point of you being here is to talk the whole time. Right? I appreciate it.
I hope I can just give if you can just learn 1 or 2 things, you know, it's great. Anybody that needs any help, call us here at DOA. We'll be more than glad to help.
That's your email address.
Oh, got my email address?
Is that right on there?
Oh my gosh, that's it.
All right, you're
that's
famous
it.
now. So
yeah, I'm famous. Oh me, look at that.
All right.
I'm not gonna be responsible for answering all them, but I'll try my best.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
Hey man,
you.
I enjoyed you. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
to see a young man in the fishing business.
I don't know how young I am anymore, but all right.
You're young compared to me.
Well, thank you. I hope everybody enjoyed the night. If you got any questions at all, feel free to email Sam or I, and between the two of us, one of us will get back to you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. You all have a good night.
That's all, folks.